So your dog used to be the sweetest dog ever, and now all of a sudden he's aggressive. Might be aggressive to you, might be aggressive to your other pets, or might even be aggressive to strangers. But what might have caused this very sudden change? I'm Dr. Ryan, a veterinarian and a veterinary behavior specialist, and in this video I'm going to explain the top 5 reasons that might make your dog's behavior change all of a sudden. The number one reason is that your dog is actually in pain. No, yes, maybe you didn't see any trauma. You didn't see something that actually happened to your dog that might have led to this pain. But that doesn't mean that your dog is not in pain. Dogs are very good at hiding pain because that's nature. In nature, the sick animal is usually the first one that's going to be hunted by other animals. But instead of crying, limping, whining, they might actually change their behavior and become more irritable and more aggressive. Trust me, when I have a headache, you don't want to be around me. I mean, I don't become aggressive, but I become very not nice. Things like osteoarthritis, things like gastrointestinal pain, and many other things that some of them we might not even know. For example, something like maybe a headache. All of these things can affect your dog's behavior. And this is actually why I brought this one up first as a reason, because first you want to rule out something like pain before you continue to all of the other reasons. And to do that, yes, you need to go to your veterinarian. The second reason is fear. Like with the first reason, the fact that you don't know if your dog is fearful or if you don't know that something actually happened that's scaring your dog, it doesn't mean that that's not the reason. Almost always, aggressive dogs are aggressive because of either anxiety or fear. Basically, it's a defense mechanism. And why the sudden change? Well, sadly, in many cases, we don't know. It might be something that your dog heard or smelled, and we're just not sensitive enough to also be exposed to it, and your dog is, and it scared him. Or maybe it's something that happened in the house or outside when you were away, so you didn't actually see it happen. This one can sometimes be really hard to diagnose because if you don't know what the actual trigger, what was actually causing the fear, then it's a lot harder to try and avoid it or create a positive association between that trigger and something good. But if you see that it's consistent, that your dog all of a sudden became fearful of strange people, then just try to keep your dog away from strangers and work with a reward-based trainer on gradually reintroducing him to strangers in a positive way. Remember, the more you push your dog into those situations that make him aggressive, the more likely this aggressive behavior is going to happen in the future. The next one, and that one I would say in many cases is pretty easy to figure out, is that your dog is just resource guarding. In most cases, it happens after a high value item is presented to your dog. For example, your dog never got a bone before, and by the way, it's actually not very healthy to give your dog bones, and he's really enjoying it, and you're trying to take it away from him because he's just spending so much time with the bone, or it starts to stink, and it's a natural behavior. He will try to prevent you from stealing away his reward or his high value treat. If you know of specific items that might make your dog behave that way, don't use them. It's not worth the risk. But if it's a new behavior and you just now figured out that this specific item can cause issues, then if it's not putting your dog at risk or not putting other people at risk, then you should probably just let it go until he leaves it alone, or even try to distract him to something else, maybe another high value treat, but something that he will consume faster, so you're not switching one bad thing with another bad thing, and while he's going to the other high value treat that should be far away, you just take away whatever was triggering the behavior. But do it in a safe way. If you're not sure how to do it, again, try to work with some specialist, a veterinary behaviorist or a reward-based trainer. Now, I mentioned that fear can cause dogs to change their behavior. But what about anxiety? Well, yes, anxiety can also cause them to change their behavior, and sometimes in a very dramatic way. Now, what will cause a dog to become anxious? So many things, exactly like in people. But basically, any big change in their environment. So for example, moving away to a new house, or maybe taking your dog with you on vacation, or bringing your dog to the daycare, or having your boyfriend move in, or having someone leave the house to go to college. And the list goes on. What you want to do is to try and create a new routine. The more predictable your dog's life is going to be, the better he's going to feel, the less anxious he's going to feel, and the less aggressive he's going to be. Of course, if there are some specific triggers for his aggression during that time, avoid them as much as possible. And the last one that I'm gonna mention today, and by the way, if you watched until this point, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow, and more people like you will be notified about this video and maybe learn something that might help improve their dog's quality of life. This is why we're here for. So yes, the last one is cognitive dysfunction syndrome. This is somewhat like Alzheimer's in dogs. One of the signs for cognitive dysfunction in dogs is changes in behavior. There can be many changes, and aggression is actually just one of them. But the fact that your dog is only showing this change and not any of the other changes doesn't mean it's not cognitive dysfunction syndrome. It can still be that. Sometimes we use something that's called the DSHA questionnaire, which is available online. You just need to Google it, and I will link it down below to try and help you figure out if your dog is experiencing cognitive dysfunction syndrome. Any dog that's over 7 years of age can develop cognitive dysfunction, but there are cases of even younger dogs that develop it. I wouldn't expect it in a 2-year-old, but definitely in an older adult dog. And how do you treat cognitive dysfunction syndrome? Well, I made a whole video just about that topic, so please check it out next.